Hello, I'm Hazard. I'm an artist with a passion for character design and storytelling, and sharing that same passion with the world. In this video, I'll be doing a breakdown slash tutorial for my rendering process in my art. Alrighty, for step 1, you want to lay down your flat colors on a single layer. There's not much to really say about this part of the process. It's really just finding the colors that you like and getting them kind of put together on a layer. You want to know what colors you have and what colors you want, because you're going to be using those colors for a decent bit in the rest of this tutorial. Not much else to say there. Just be sure to alpha lock that layer, and then we can move on into step 2, where we create our first multiply layer. First and foremost, you want to make a new layer, and you want to set it to multiply at 50% opacity. You're going to select your flat colors layer, and then hit Ctrl G to create a clipping group. Basically, this means that any further layers on top of your flat layer one will be grouped together and will stick to the alpha layers. You still, whenever you make any new layers on top of that, you still want to click the button on there that says Alpha Inheritance, just so that way you're not having to deal with the annoyance of colors going outside of the designated area that you had set up in your alpha. So what I like to do whenever I am doing my first multiply layer is that I like to take the color picker tool and I will pick out my flat colors, and then I will use those on the multiply layer to create what I like to call the natural shadows, or the outer shadows, or the softer shadows, whatever you want to call them. I can't really explain exactly how the multiply layer works, but by using the flat colors that you had used on the first layer, and applying them on top through the multiply layer, it creates what looks like a sort of naturally darker color from the one that you used on your flat layer. And I like to do this for the first set of shadows. Also, a key thing that you want to do for every layer that you do this process with, or at least that I do, is I like to take one of my blending tools and I will blend out the shadows and make them kind of softer. You don't always have to do soft shadows. If anything, you can do hard shadows and it works just fine. It's just I prefer to do the softer shadows look. I prefer to just blend things together. I'm not a big fan of like hard edges, but that's just me. Moving on to step 3, we make another multiply layer, but you set this one at 82% opacity, and remember to do alpha inheritance. You can go about this step in 2 ways. You can either repeat the step that you did before, which will then in turn give you darker shadows that are a progression of the shadows that you did in the previous step, or you can use a complementary color, which will give it a teensy bit more depth, or it's just also more stylish. It's really just dependent on what you want to do. You can also use gray as well. And like previous steps, remember to blend. And then for what is kind of somewhat the last step, I like to do a overlay layer at 30% opacity. Here, I will usually just take white or a light complementary color, and I will use that to just sort of brighten up certain parts of the piece, you know, to make the skin sort of look brighter. You can kind of think of this as like highlighting. I think of it more like, and this is kind of an odd analogy, but I think of it more like putting sunscreen on my character. And no, don't take that as whitewashing. I just simply mean just adding sort of what would be the lighter parts of the skin tones, or any other color for that matter. And that's pretty much the process. You can do additional steps, such as an additional overlay layer, or like white highlights, or any sort of other highlights, or you can do an additional multiply layer for other colors to add a little bit more of style or depth, whatever you think works. But yeah, that's pretty much my rendering methods of going about it. It's a little odd, and it's not perfect. I don't recommend my tutorial being the only one that you look at for rendering. I recommend always checking out multiple ones. But this is just the method I use and what I've been doing for a while. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I do want to thank y'all who had been waiting for this video, or just the short version that will also be up. I've started back to school, so I've been a little bit busy. Haven't quite had time because I have commitments whenever I'm in college, you know. But other than that, I'm still kind of trucking videos along. I'm gonna get that Deadpool video finished soon. Uploaded all the shorts for it if you're interested in watching that. But otherwise, that video will be out soon, and I'll probably be focusing on short form content for a little while as I'm sort of balancing out my school life. But yeah. If you stuck around throughout the most of this video, I want to thank you very much. All your viewership is appreciated. Be sure to like and subscribe, because it really does help out the channel and with its visibility. And I will see y'all in the next one. Bye-bye.